accidentally catfished my husband and he fell for it. In order to do this, I have many Instagram profiles, including a phony one used for stalking, PLZ no judgment. I made an unintentional remark on my husband's Instagram story tonight, while using the fictitious page. I was completely convinced that I was on my own page. He was performing at a wedding, and I was reflecting on the setting. His response was strangely seductive, and after a few back-and-forth conversations, I realized we were communicating via the fictitious web page. I messaged him at the time, curious as to whether he was aware of who he was conversing with. He responded with, "No, but he's trying to see. Remember, he doesn't even follow this people page on Facebook." My suspicions were confirmed, but I was still interested in seeing how far we might push the situation. So I flirted with him in return, invited him to come see me, and he gave me his phone number, which I used to begin texting him. I sent him a text message from my work phone. I gave him my home address so that we could get together. I have a friend out of town, so I gave her address. And the whole time, I'm stressed out because I'm anticipating him to tell me to stop playing. Instead, he sends me a text message saying that he'll be going bar hopping with his friends after the show. He's now on his way to this person's house, which happens to be my friend's address, and I'm very certain he's already been there, so, given that there is no way he could be this slow, I'm sticking with it. How could he have been so blind to the fact that it was me? He's aware of my fictitious web page. He has only spent about 2/3 of an hour on this fraudulent website, has only viewed one picture, and we have been married for 5 years? Cheating or infidelity have never been the subject of a heated debate in our country. He arrives to the house, calls and texts many times to indicate he's outside, and then leaves. The real me receives a phone call from him after around 20 minutes of waiting, informing her that he is exhausted and will not be staying out any longer, and that he is on his way home. When he returns home, he seems to be in his regular state, so I'm wondering whether he was really interested in meeting this strange woman in the first place. I'm completely taken aback by this. I text him from my work phone while he is at home, apologizing for not responding sooner and giving some explanation for not responding earlier, but welcoming him back if he was feeling low, and so on. In the meanwhile, this MF comes to me and says he still wants to go hang out. He hasn't been out or seen his friends in a long time, so it seems like a good idea to him. At that point, I contact him as the female and tell him that it would be better if he came the next night, which he agrees to. I went through his pockets and car looking for condoms or purchase receipts, but there were none to be found. I had a friend send me the ring video, and he was definitely in attendance. It's quite degrading. I'm really baffled, since this is something I never expected to hear from him. I'm embarrassed that I brought about this situation, and addressing him about it would be a ludicrous idea. Because I've never been cheated on before, I wouldn't even know where to begin approaching him. But did he really travel to the home of a random Instagram chick and spend the night? I'm in a bad mood, upset, and enraged, as though I can't put my confidence in him. What can I do to move on from this situation? Story 2. I finally broke up with my GF of over 8 years, and I feel awful. Some background. I met my GF when I was 18 and fell madly in love with her. I'm still. However, the path has been incredibly difficult. Her mother is pure evil and booted her out after approximately 6 months of dating, so she moved in with me. My family and I took care of her and spent every waking hour together. Fast forward a few years, and she relocated to another province for roughly 8 months. We were beginning to break apart, so she returned to attempt to rescue us. When she returned, I discovered that she had cheated on me while she was abroad. It utterly shattered my spirit. I had to figure it out for myself since she didn't tell me. But I told myself that it was a one-night blunder caused by her absence, and I went on. We began to develop together again, and I felt everything had returned to normal. I was finally happy, and I didn't think anything could ever separate us. I had planned to propose to her this summer. Then, last Friday, I discovered that she had been sending photographs and videos to a variety of men. For over a month, she has been sneaking around, lying to me, and working around my schedule to do this. They are extremely graphic videos, which she would never do to me. She assured me that it had all happened online and that nothing had happened in person, but I burst into tears once again. I begged her to explain herself, but she refused. But she booked a mental health visit and is taking measures to improve herself. I continued to give her time to show that she could make things right, that she really cares about me and is prepared to go to great lengths to make things work, and she has in many ways, but I can't seem to get this event out of my head. I went to see my father today, and we spoke about it all night. I know what I should do, but I lack the strength to carry it through. Until about an hour ago, that is, I informed her that we had to call it quits. I can't go on living like this, and I can't wait for it to happen again. I've never been so deceived in my life, and I won't let it happen again. She departed for the night to meet her sister, and I've been feeling awful ever since. All I want to do is give her a second opportunity. I can't see my life without her. She's like a member of my family at this point, and I adore her. But I can't seem to get over what she did to me. What should I do? I really need some guidance. I'd appreciate any advice. I'm completely clueless right now. I've chosen to stick to my guns and adhere to my choice. It will be difficult, but it will be worthwhile. I can't thank you all enough for what you've done for me. You've helped me more than you know. Story 3. Caught wife with best man. So we're back at the start of the most difficult year of my life. But after many therapy sessions and conversations with all of the people I left behind throughout the relationship, I'm now able to speak about it. It began with my wife being more distant. I didn't think much of it, and certainly didn't imagine my best man, who had just split up with his girlfriend of 6 years, was the reason. But things became much worse when he had to leave his flat and had nowhere to stay. I decided he could sleep on the sofa, which is where the fun starts, but not for me. It was a week before Christmas, and she had gone to work. I was on the MacBook, browsing for presents, when a message appeared. It was my best man, and I ignored it. The following message asked, "Is he working tonight?" I went ahead and looked since that's a strange question to ask. FTR, I never snoop. I start reading and am quickly in tears. It was much more painful since I trusted him. While I'm at work, there's a lot of discussion about what they want, and it's all visual. I hammered on his new apartment door so hard that he thought it for the police, since I was completely out of my mind and shocked. My first query to him is regarding the texts, and he immediately responds with things like, "It's out of context, go read them, I'd never do that," and other such statements. Stupid me believes I was just overthinking the situation. My next step is to go home and review them, as well as take photographs, since I'll need evidence later. Fortunately, she did not log off for many minutes after I did. When she returned home, she requested that we separate immediately, which I agreed to and left for my parents' house. I returned the next day, completely unexpectedly, to pick up some of my items from the storage facility. When I query as to why his mobile phone charger is plugged into the wall next to the bed, she says it is her own. I would like to point out that I have my own and that I am not the owner of the brand in question. Afterwards, she says, "Well, we came in here and watched television." I'll know I've got her when I see her like that. I confronted her and inquired as to her motivation. When there's a television in the living room, it's considered formal. I was evicted from our apartment by her. Just a few weeks ago, when I served her, she agreed to all of the requirements and confessed to having been in an affair. I only need to fill out one more paperwork and I'll be divorced. Anyone who is going through a tough time should get help from a professional therapist. These pathways become much less difficult to traverse as a result of this.